You're listening to the Secure AF podcast.
Hello, this is Dylan. Welcome to another episode of the Secure AF podcast. I told him I'd make the intro really weird, so I hope it was awkward. Today we're going to talk about the holiday season and why it is our busy time as incident responders. A lot of people who are more seasoned in cybersecurity can definitely tell you that they've probably got some pretty rough stories about the holidays. So this is partly to help prepare us for tomorrow being Thanksgiving and the fact that we're probably going to be absolutely hammered with incident response calls and everything else like we are the majority of years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Especially during Christmas, too. It's going to probably even get worse. People shopping, online shopping, just getting excited, being like, oh, I can get this for my son. There's lots of links to click, lots of websites to visit, and so it'll definitely probably ramp up a lot more during.
Yeah. I usually tell people the number one day that I see for just incident response calls, attacks that happen, is Black Friday. It seems like that's the worst. I guess we can kind of go into why that is. A lot of this is theory. It's just from what I've seen over the years. I think that attackers are completely aware that you're not going to be paying attention, and that's when they want to attack. So we see the majority of our incident response calls come in late on Friday or first thing on Monday because they either didn't pay attention or they were paying attention when it started happening, and they started kicking off all the encryptions and all their actual payloads on Friday evening.
Yeah.
And that's just typically how you want to do it. Even when I'm running a red team, I am oftentimes operating at night. If I do get an opportunity to do a red team over a holiday weekend, it's great. I'm usually going to take that.
Yeah, mainly watching for whenever people aren't paying attention to their alerts, watching the consoles, not active. Those are the things that a lot of attackers are looking for and trying to. It's the low-hanging fruit that they want.
Exactly. So it's just, or if you're not paying attention, you're off with the family, you've been working hard all year, you're ready for a break, emails are coming in, it's the sim, whatever, it's somebody doing something dumb, maybe you're going to ignore those. Maybe, until things start getting really bad, then you'll go, oh crap, and it's probably too late.
Yeah, and there's probably a lot of people still riding the high from Thanksgiving of like, oh, we should be thankful, no one, probably in good spirits is probably the word that I'm looking for, and they're just trusting everyone, and they want those good deals, they want the best gift for their significant other, those are all things that they're looking for.
Leaving your family dinner on Thanksgiving because your job got ransomware is not fun.
Yeah, people don't like that either. Your other family members wouldn't be happy. It's not a good thing to have to do whenever.
I highly recommend if you have a capability, staffing somebody. Like, find that one person who'd rather have the overtime money than the Thanksgiving dinner, and try to staff them if you can. Not everybody can, and sometimes it's the fact of we might have working hours, but the attackers don't.
Yeah,
they don't particularly care that it's the holiday or that it's
they don't.
They might say, oh, that's not fair. Well,
and some of them might be in a pinch to get some money for their own holiday shopping, and they're trying to turn that around and be like, oh, I got to get something good for my family.
That's a good point. Maybe you should think of the poor ransomware actor who's just trying to provide for his family during the holiday season.
Yeah, the poor dude.
So types of organizations that get hit on holidays. I feel like I hear lots of people always ask about like what industry, what type of organizations. I see very little rhyme or reason. Well, reason. I don't see a whole lot of industry targeting personally.
Really?
Definitely some, but I think that the majority of attackers are with phishing campaigns, it's a little more industry targeted, but I think that the majority of attackers that are doing things like firewall exploitation to get in, or finding a vulnerable web service or something like that, I think that the majority of those are just scanning large swaths of the internet, finding something vulnerable, attacking it, going, what do I have? Is this valuable? If the answer is yes, then they go to do extortion or ransom or whatever they're going to do, or it's an initial access broker that will then sell access to that. So I don't think it's as much. I'm going to go and I'm going to hack
Google.
casinos.
Yeah, casinos, schools. They're looking for what they can get a hold of.
I that's my general take on things. Now there definitely are some people who like they'll craft a really good phishing campaign that's going to target banks or something like that, where they try to get into the middle of a chain and do stuff like that. But in just pure like ransomware or things like that, I don't know if there's a lot of targeting. Business email compromise definitely more targeted, which is a lot more. I don't know. Typically, that's a much bigger thing where there's usually more steps and more elements involved than it's just somebody got into your domain and started ransoming you. Just very different sort of things. Do you think? What's your thoughts on that?
I would have to agree. I don't think there's a lot of targeting for industry specific. I do think that we might see more individuals targeted because we also see a ramp in phishing campaigns. But those are, your typical emails like win a free turkey. And people, like I said earlier, kind of riding that high of like, oh, yeah, it's the holidays, things are going well.
Yep.
And so they're going to go ahead and just click on the link without double checking it and really thinking about what they're doing.
Yeah, and we don't do nearly as much individual stuff here, but I'm sure that you're correct where individuals get taken advantage of a whole lot more. I mean, how many emails have you gotten in the last 48 hours about Black Friday sales and stuff like that, and how many have you clicked on? How many have you gone? It's been a few for me. It's like,
I've definitely checked out a couple.
Yeah. So with the mass volume of emails coming in, it's probably easier to sneak in a
official like, hey, here's a good deal. Your son's been looking at that Nintendo Switch too.
Yeah.
Do you take the deal or do you verify if it's trusted?
Yeah, I wonder if there's any stats on that. There might be. We'll have to check. If we can find some cool stats, we'll put them in the episode. But I'm not sure that there are stats that exist on that.
Yeah, that'd be a hard stat to try to.
Or if you know some, holler at us, and we'd love to see them. So seeing individuals, scams happening to individuals, getting whether they're getting hacked or they're getting just sent to a fake payment portal or something like that. I'd be really curious to see
what that looks like. And honestly, it'd be good to kind of get an idea of what threat actors are doing on that side of things too, because we don't have a lot of personal interaction with it. So, and that would give us even more idea on like what the holiday seasons look like. What are people dealing with? So yeah, send your stories our way.
Yeah. So are there types of organizations that you think are they take it harder if they're taken down on the holiday?
Probably a lot of your retail industry is going to really feel it if they get taken down during this time of year, because this is when they're making their big sales, a lot of promotions going out. So I would definitely have to lean towards retail industry. Do you see any other
I
kind?
was gonna also say we had a Black Friday a few years ago. One of our clients, well, they weren't our client until this, but they reached out. They were full-blown ransomware, and they were a retail organization.
Yeah.
So they were actually fully closed on. We ended up getting them back up 6 hours,
Nice.
at least functional enough to run payments and do it in a secure manner. But yeah, that was that's a whole nother talk about how that came to be, because that's like a why doing IR in a kind of a weird way can be really good. But
Yeah.
what's another talk for another time. So yeah, I think retail gets hit pretty hard.
It's also the other end of trying to protect their name and brand, because they could be on the receiving end of impersonation and stuff, and that could also hurt the industry as well. Not just, even though they're not being actually attacked, that is something that harms their reputation, and reputation is pretty big.
Yeah, well, yeah, especially when you get into business email compromise and things like that, where if you got a large retailer, you could just send out to all of the customer list, just hey, we're doing this really, really good sale, and redirect something in the website to steal everybody's money.
Yeah.
Pretty bad brand reputation.
That'd be really bad for the brand. I know most things would probably not exist after getting something like that done to them.
Yeah.
Even something like Target or Walmart probably would have a rough time trying to recover from that.
You can't kill Walmart. Walmart will never die.
They'll be around with cockroaches, won't they?
Yeah. Okay, one of the things I wrote down is initial attack vectors. So as far as the most common initial attack vectors that I've seen is there's definitely a lot of phishing and stuff, but the people like to talk a lot about dwell times on attacks. I don't see a whole lot of long dwell times except for the ones that happen on the holidays. Those are the only time that I really encounter. Not the
Really?
only time, it's the main time. Because typically I feel like people get in and they actually don't dwell that long. They want to rush through it pretty quick and get it before they're noticed.
Yeah.
But I do see it more where we've ran into several events where we can't even tell for sure how they got in. We might have an idea because they've been in for 90 days and they don't have logs that go back that far, and so we really can't figure it out. But we see a lot of phishing and stuff going on. So aside from attacks with long dwell timers, I don't know that I've noticed a lot of anything unique about what's coming in during the holidays. What about yourself?
No, I can't say that I have anything unique per se. I never even noticed that the dwell times during the holidays were longer. Why do you think that is?
Well, it's just what we've seen sometimes where we'll be able to trace activity back, for 30 days, 60 days, something like that. And it's just not something that we see very often unless it's on a holiday. I mean, sometimes we do, but the majority of the time, I think that people like to strategically go for it.
Do you think that that could correlate with students being out of school and having more access to the internet and not being worried about what they're doing, and maybe they're just like playing around with things?
No,
No,
I'd be surprised.
this is a little thought I actually just had.
Yeah. No, I think most of these guys are
Pretty experienced.
most of them are professional. At least most of what we see. Not that there aren't, amateurs and things like that, but typically it's, a ransom affiliate who's doing it as a career.
Yeah.
Sometimes, maybe, and you never really know for sure. So it's certainly possible, but the majority of the, the busts that have happened, the majority of the times where they've come in and arrest people, they're, in their 20s and their 30s and their 40s, and they're retired IT people who just sit around and ransom things.
Yeah, this is what they're doing to make their income now.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
But not to say it's not a possibility. Would you say right now you see more credentialed or exploit-based attacks?
I would say probably more credential-based attacks, and some of that would probably have to do with the holiday season, and we do see a lot more phishing, but also I think some of that does come. We've just seen it seems to be more popular to do credentialed attacks just
Yeah.
across the board right now.
Yeah.
I think because cybersecurity is starting, I would say almost getting out of its infancy stages. People are kind of starting to tighten up, and credentials where a lot of people are having
Yep.
success, and so they're just sticking to it.
Yep. Yeah. Stealer logs, I think, is the biggest risk still for the majority of organizations that they're not even factoring in.
Yeah.
You'd be amazed if you can go onto some of the crime boards and get somebody to sell you Stealer logs or access to the logs. You will almost certainly find your organization if you work for like a Fortune 1000 organization that has some kind of active creds. I mean, it's just, they things like Redline Stealer, they bundle it into a piece of software and they ship it out everywhere. And anybody who's ever logged into their corporate VPN and has the password saved on their computer that they get that malware on, now that's in the logs.
Yeah, they got that now.
So okay. Begin again. We've definitely seen Stealer logs be super effective
Yeah.
in live engagements before. So, yeah, credentialed attacks, I think, far more than exploiting. Not to say that you don't have to worry about your patching. You definitely still have to worry about your patching. Please patch your shit.
Please patch everything.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So another thing I wrote down is SOC fatigue and staffing issues.
Yes,
So
that is going to be a big issue during this time of year. Lots of people taking time off for vacation to go see family, and with the increase of alerts, you're going to have that fatigue. Even though that these probably have a little bit more true positives than what most people are used to seeing in a SOC during this time of year.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I mean, trying to take that in, you're ingesting logs, you're ingesting human behavior. Like, that's a lot of information to try to take in, and you're trying to do it as quickly as possible so that way you can minimize things as much as you can. Not necessarily stop, but yeah, no, SOC fatigue is going to be a really, really big issue. Also trying to find someone that can cover you while you're out of office, someone that's willing to, take a time away from family to be able to watch that and make sure that everything's okay is it's going to be hard on companies. It's going to be hard on individuals, and it's just something I think if you're going to be in this industry, you have to kind of be ready for. You have to know what you signed up for. And just kind of prepare yourself for that.
Yes. You might get chosen to work the Christmas shift.
And
It happens. It happens.
Yep,
sometimes.
it's not going to be the end of the world this year.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
It definitely happens, and it sucks. And usually, whenever you're working in incident response, it's everybody working the Christmas shift. And
Yeah, incident response on a Christmas would be the worst. Getting pulled from your family, and no one wants that. But it's a part of it. It's what we got to deal with.
yeah, I was thinking of one event in particular, where they ended up getting completely ransomed. Not only that, they locked them out of their Azure. They changed all the ownership, and it was a nightmare to get everything back. It was a nightmare. They spent some time on really screwing these guys over.
Yeah.
And there was alerts. This is an organization that's generally pretty good with their security. They just totally dropped the ball because everybody was on vacation. People didn't want to answer their emails, things like that. If it had happened in July, I think it would have been very quickly slapped down, and it wouldn't have really been a big deal.
Probably not even an incident response even at that.
Yeah.
They probably would have gotten in before they ever hit that point.
Yep.
Which that's another reason why a lot of things ramp up during these holiday times is, I mean, we kind of, we're really drilling that point of like people are going to be away. You gotta be ready. Make sure, maybe you don't only get alerts on your computer. Maybe you gotta add it to your phone so that way something that you got on you all the time. Maybe if you got an Apple Watch, you need to make sure that that's getting the alerts so that way you can be on top of it.
Yeah, I generally encourage everybody to have your alerts on your phone. I feel like people don't want to do it because they want to step away from work.
Yeah.
And I get it, man. I get it. But you're going to be working a whole lot more if you don't respond to the alert.
Really, yeah, you're adding a lot more to your plate whenever you decide to come in on Monday and, you're, customer and retail, they had phishing and credential attack and, got to recover all the data, make sure everything's up and running. And that might be a couple days instead of, the day that you had to spend on Christmas.
Could be longer than that. Okay. So if you were a bad guy, or let's say a red teamer, and you were going to attack an organization, let's say a bank, in December, around this early December, I don't know. We'll say this coming. It's Thanksgiving weekend coming up. This will air later than that. So yeah, we'll say December. And during the holidays, right? If you were going to attack, what would you do?
Around the holidays, my first approach would, especially going after banks, I would be looking for federal time off here in the U.S. because banks are required to take federal time off, and I know that they can't be working during those days. And when someone's not working, that means that they're...
IT still does.
Yeah, IT still does. IT still does. Hopefully.
I feel you, my bank people. We understand.
Yeah, we're right there with you. Trust me. We'll be working on Thanksgiving and Christmas ourselves this year. So, but yeah, those federal times off. They're even if they are working, they're probably working from home and, may be a little distracted because they're like, oh, it's the holidays. So that's definitely something I'm looking for is those federal days off that I know that they're required to be off. Um, and also just like building, I probably do even a little bit more targeted attacks during the holidays. I do a little OSINT on someone, see what they're into, see if they've got kids, and I'm sending you email after email of like, hey, here's this great deal, let's do it. And
Yeah.
one of those is probably more than likely going to slip through because people just are so excited at this time of year.
I would probably reach out to the email list that I could gather. I would spin up like a evil Jinx portal that does some sort of a forwarding along and say, everybody from this organization gets these special Black Friday deals for the generic bank, and have that try to capture
Yeah.
those and relay them back to something real, or just give them an error or something like that. I think if you made it enticing enough, you would be pretty likely to get some live ones.
Yeah. Really dig into the festive feel of the year and, give it that Christmas, Thanksgiving look, and people are probably going to bite on it.
I think it's certainly a good possibility. I mean, if they respond to it quickly, it wouldn't be super effective, but
Yeah.
I would definitely be willing to try that. And then from there, VPN in, it's the normal stuff. Privilege escalation, attack active directory. It's the typical standard stuff.
Phishing emails aren't something new to us either. They've been around and people know that they're successful. So you just got to make sure you're paying attention to who it's coming from. If a lot of devices have an option to preview links and stuff now. If you just hover over it and you don't have to click anything, make sure that you're getting the full effect out of that. See where a link's taking you. You just got to be wary and make sure you're double checking where things are coming from.
Yeah. What do you think the worst mistake people make during the season is?
It's got to be I think most people tend to have a nature during this time of year to just trust people. Because they want to get into the feeling of the year of like, oh, we got to give thanks to people. And like Christmas is about being with people and being with the ones that you love. And so I think that they just have this tendency to really trust things just automatically during this time of year.
Okay. That's interesting. I hadn't really thought of that. It's
What's your take on it?
Oh, I keep going back to it. I'm beating a dead horse. Staffing.
Yeah.
And in email fatigue. I know by the end of the year, I definitely want to check my emails less.
Yeah.
It's not an option, but I definitely get the fatigue. So, I mean, yeah, I think that's probably it. Is if that and another thing is people wait too long to respond to stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
Where we'll have people that they did see it and they alerted and they came back 4 hours later, 5 hours later, whenever they were done doing stuff. And there was one event where if they had just responded when, I don't even know why they admitted that they saw it, but if they had just responded to the alert whenever they saw it, they would have been preventable.
Yeah.
So,
well, and I think that is something too, is there's a lot of time around this time of year where people are in and out of office, not just for the holidays, but they're taking vacation because a little bit before the holidays start, they want to go see their family, and like during the holidays they got to be, with dad's side of the family, and then, a couple weeks later they're with mom's side of the family, and you're in and out, and that kind of breaks up your workflow and like really derails people sometimes, and they lose track of what conversations they've had, who they've talked to. I think that can definitely be an issue because, you see an email from your boss, or you think your boss, they mention something that you kind of remember talking about maybe, and you just kind of be like, oh yeah, like I just got to get this done.
Yeah. So I wanted to think about the most chaotic situation that's happened on an incident response. I was like, what's the worst call? And I was like, oh, it's not actually any single incident response that was the worst. It was a couple years ago. We had every engineer involved on a different incident response at the same time, and we got more calls in, and we were just like, we can't help you.
Wow.
Like we are too busy to help you right now. Like literally every single engineer at Alias was involved on a different incident.
That's pretty impressive.
I remember it was Black Friday. I was on a plane out to Virginia, and by the time we landed, there had already been another incident response call started. And so I'm, going back and forth as, kind of as a senior person here, helping answer questions and things like that. And then that same day before we wrapped up, like going to bed and stuff, there was another one. And we ended up having I don't remember how many, but it was absurd. Yeah.
And when you have a day like that, I mean, you're constantly on the phone, constantly on the computer.
That's why we have so many snafus. It's because we needed them all at once. It was
Did not know that.
yeah.
Good information to have.
Yeah, usually we're out of them. I don't know. We had 3. We're all in use. Yeah.
What? Now we're up to 6, 7.
I don't even know. Yeah, because we have one in Tulsa too, staged around. Yeah.
These holiday times can be rough, and you're having to deal with all this while you're trying to deal with everything outside of work. You got to do your gift shopping, you got to go turkey shopping, and those aren't necessarily important immediate tasks, but they're stressful things that are added to your plate. And when those keep stacking, you're just you start getting bogged down, you start getting tired, and the first thing that's going to go is probably your work, and because you'd rather take care of your family first. And so those are
can't blame anybody for.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely kind of the same way. I'm a family first kind of guy, but it's that time of year, and it's trade-offs.
Do you have any tricks that are we'll do some 2 parts. First off, do you have any tricks that would make things easier for people? Triaging, checking anything like that? What's your go-to to do things quickly? Maybe bonus points if it can be done from a cell phone or something, you get an alert. How can people quickly check it?
There's no simple trick, nothing that's just going to automatically automate things, but I've done a talk on this, and it's something that I really think is important, and it's what we call playbooks. If you have, if you run into one alert, they tend to kind of repeat themselves sometimes, just because WannaCry, Clop, things like that. They're well-known groups that keep kind of nailing the hammer in on the same thing. Having set recorded ways of this is how we're going to triage, this is how we're going to investigate, that can save you a lot of time, because now you can just be all right, I need to do this first. If it's this, then I need to go down this branch, and if it's this, then I need to go down this branch, and you just kind of keep branching that down, and it's going to really save you time, because you're not having to stop and be okay, I've checked this, what else can I check? Do I need to even go check network artifacts? Do I need to go check hashes? Those are things that not every attack needs those. And if you kind of have some playbooks and stuff, then that's going to save you a lot of time on those. And then you can spend a little bit more time on things that you've never seen before. And that gives you a little bit of wiggle room and playroom of okay, I know that this is going to take me a long time, because it's a new thing I've never seen.
Yep.
I've seen this before. I can break it down really fast. And that also kind of helps you prioritize what you're doing within your workflow. So that's about the best way I can think of that people can really help save them some time.
So just having that good documentation.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. I don't do as much responding as I don't do as much SOC responding. So the incident response responding, but not as much on the day-to-day as you do.
Yeah.
But I have always liked, of course, Virus Total. Everybody that's listening to this is already user of Virus Total. But Joe Sandbox is another one that is pretty easy to use from a mobile device. So I have it's not something I would recommend that a lot of people do, but I have downloaded the malware samples to upload to Joe Sandbox from my phone.
Yeah.
So logged into the EDR, pulled the file, and then loaded it up to Joe Sandbox. Because I didn't have access to a computer, and it was okay, I need to know what happened right here, and if it's bad, I go home. If it's not, I'll stay here. So and that's now I just bring my laptop with me. But But yeah, it was that sort of a deal, and it saved me from that before, where it's like, oh, okay, this actually wasn't as bad as it looks.
Yeah, and that might be something that a lot of people have to do is have any devices that they can keep on them almost on a consistent basis, while you're sitting at the dinner table, while you're it needs to at least be able to get your alerts so that way you can at least tell your family, like, hey, I got to step away for a second. Let me go take care of this and I'll be right back. You just need to be ready for that. I I haven't done a whole lot on my phone.
Yeah,
So like
Probably-
when it
probably
comes to
not a good idea.
sandboxing,
yeah. It's
Um,
probably a little reckless.
usually just keep my alerts and emails on there around. Like I'll pull up my laptop, but you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
Yeah, you do. I also encourage people to just be the dork who brings your laptop to the family event, because I would rather take my laptop and go to another room for 30 minutes than I would leave the event entirely.
Yeah.
So people act like, oh, it's a bad thing. I'm not bringing my computer to a family event. Yeah, what if you have to leave, man? I don't know.
Yeah.
That one, probably a lot of people will disagree with that one. But just personally, if it's a bad situation, I'm probably going to have to go, and I'd rather just address it.
Yeah, I that's also going to save you a lot of time because that driving distance to like relatives' homes and stuff, sometimes they vary far and wide. So like,
Yeah.
I could be making an hour and a half drive to go out for my Thanksgiving dinner tomorrow. If I don't take my laptop, that's an hour and a half that they have time to
Yep.
do whatever they need to. And that's a lot of time to give someone on a computer. Hour
Yes,
and a
it
half
is.
is a lot of time.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So, or I could have it, just out in my car, step into a room. Oh, now I've only spent 5 minutes getting my computer. That's a lot less time. So
I agree. I'm the same.
I'd rather be the weirdo that's got my laptop at work or at dinner.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Okay, what is your trick for staying awake and focused and alert at 2 in the morning whenever an incident response comes in?
I don't know if I can share that on the podcast.
I'm a fan of make it really cold. That's whatever office I'm in, or I'll go sit in a server room sometimes if I'm like. That's a good one. I think everybody in IT uses nicotine.
Yeah, I'm a big nicotine user. Been trying to break that habit a little bit more recently, but it's definitely something that helps me at 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
I think I have to agree with the cold room. I get really comfy whenever I'm warm. I like warm weather. So I just trying to keep yourself maybe slightly uncomfy might be the trick.
Yeah.
I think that's usually what subconsciously I'm kind of doing. I don't think I've ever thought super hard about like how am I going to stay awake at 2 o'clock in the morning? Because like once I start get going, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm just going to like adjust and stuff. And I probably am making myself just a little uncomfy the whole time. That
Right.
little prick in the side of the leg that I'm like, ooh, that I don't like that.
So that's it. Make yourself uncomfortable.
As weird as it sounds, for me, that is. And, that's probably something that could be a little bit, to each their own.
Yeah.
Some people might really like the comfort when they can just really like sit down and, be who they are.
Yeah.
They can probably nail some work out, but
Yeah, music, also use a lot of music whenever I'm getting tired.
I think if you walk around this office, almost every engineer at least, you're gonna see an AirPod in or something. Yeah. We
Yeah.
usually got something going in our ear.
Probably. Yeah. All right. You got anything else you wanted to cover? It's kind of everything.
No, I feel like we kind of beat a dead horse there.
Yeah.
Like it's fatigue.
So, in closing, make sure you have multi-factor enabled. We didn't talk about that once, but it's probably the single most important thing that you can do before you leave for the holidays. Just make sure that all of your users, don't assume, hey, we have multi-factor enabled for everybody. Do you? Or how about your service
Yeah.
accounts that you didn't know actually had access to the VPN? Like, double check that you have multi-factor.
Yeah, you might have to set it up as a process of like every time we go on vacation, some of these counts, then we add multi-factor, and once we come back from vacation, maybe you don't need that multi-factor anymore because now you're dead on it. But like if obviously not suggesting that you do that, you should always just have multi-factor always on.
Yeah.
But operational needs and things, this is always a balance that we're trying to weigh here. And sometimes that multi-factor isn't like the most necessary thing at the time because the account or something might not be, a dire security threat. Maybe like you're saying, it's just a service account for a printer. Might not be the worst thing, it could be isolated, whatever.
It's your foothold. It's your foothold.
It could be.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, multi-factor is definitely something you gotta push out for the holidays.
That's the one thing I would like. I mean, there's lots of things I would love to say. Do a vuln scan, check your attack surface area, blah, blah, blah. If you're going to do one thing, just double check that everybody has multi-factor, because none of the other things are going to save you from what I was talking about with the Stealer logs and things like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But
that's all I got.
I think that's all I got.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us on another episode of the Secure AF podcast. See you next time.
See you.
The Secure AF podcast is a production of Alias Cybersecurity. Visit us online at aliascybersecurity.com. All rights reserved.